Here's what Valentine and I did during our 10 days in Sunriver and Bend, Oregon. I am still working while we're on the road, so it wasn't total vacation mode, but I tried to make the most of it and check out places during our free time. I wanted to start off with our Airbnb in Sunriver. One of the main reasons I booked this Airbnb was because of a rock. Yes, a rock, this one specifically. It was in one of the photos in the listing and it caught my eye because it has one of my most favorite quotes on it. This was the first Airbnb where I was booking a longer stay, so I was excited and a little bit nervous, but I felt like that rock was a sign that I should book it. And I'm so glad I did. It was a really amazing place and got our trip off to a great start. I was thinking about how if our first Airbnb sucked, I would have been questioning all my life decisions and felt discouraged, but thankfully it was the opposite. It was a perfect little place and it was surrounded by trees, birds, chickens, and ducks. Hi guys! Our Airbnb also had a resident dog named Rascal, and he might have been the highlight of our entire trip. I have never seen Valentine play this much before with another dog ever, and she's lived with 2 other dogs before and goes to daycare, so she's met a lot of dogs, but I feel like I've never seen her this happy and playful. It made me so happy to see them running and jumping together, and it was so wholesome and joyful. I have watched these videos so many times, and even though Rascal's a lot bigger, he was so gentle and sweet with her, and I felt like they really enjoyed each other's company. So I think Valentine has a type, because in our old neighborhood, there was a dog named Tyson, and he was a black lab, and Valentine loved seeing him when we were walking, and whenever we saw him, she would always try to follow him. I really hope we can make our way back to Sunriver and I can book this Airbnb again, because I think it would be so fun for Valentine to see Rascal again. Rascal really was so sweet. And there was also another dog that was visiting our Airbnb, and his name was Winston, and he's a little puppy and he was so cute. He kept trying to follow us inside. In conclusion, our Airbnb was magical and perfect. It felt very safe and was about 20 minutes from Bend, and I loved being surrounded by nature. If you're in this area, I highly recommend staying there, and you can send me an email and I can forward you the listing. We actually spent more time in Bend than in Sunriver, but I did find Fort Rock Park, which turned out to be amazing. We were just minding our own business walking on the trail when all of a sudden I saw something move from the corner of my eye, and it was not 1, but 2 deer. I love seeing wildlife, it's so exciting to me, and so it was really cool that we happened to see them while we were on our walk. After a nice long walk for Val, we made our way back home, and during the drive, I was still so excited about seeing the deer. Then as I pull up to our Airbnb, I see 3 more deer on the front yard, just chomping away at the bushes. I had to stop to take a picture, and it felt like they posed and then just kept on eating. I couldn't believe I saw that many deer in one day. It was amazing. The next evening, we ventured out to downtown Bend. As we drove up, I was already loving it. It was so quaint and lovely with the trees lining the streets and little shops. I felt like this is what Stars Hollow would feel like. We walked around and met so many nice people, and it felt really safe with a good mix of clothing shops, gift shops, restaurants, bookstores, and even an art store. I came here to pick up dinner from Wild Rose, a northern Thai restaurant recommended by my friend Cynthia. They have a lot of dishes that can be made vegan, which was great. I decided to try something new and got the gang om. It's an herbal broth infused with ingredients like coriander, Thai basil, eggplant, and green beans, and some other ingredients, and I had it with tofu and rice. The more I drank the broth, the more I liked it. I normally don't cook with eggplant, so that's why I decided to get this dish. Thank you, Cynthia, for the recommendation, and if I'm ever back in town, I definitely want to go back and try another dish. On one of my days off, I decided to take Valentine and check out Pioneer Park. And I started to notice that all the places that are called parks here are actually really like forests. The spaces are so big with so many huge trees. This one was also by a river, and I really felt like everything was so beautiful there. There's a nice path that takes you through the trees and to the bridge. So we did that walk, and after passing by another dog walker for the second time, he stopped to tell me about how his ex-girlfriend had 2 poms, and one was so special and he really bonded with her. And even though this was years ago and he has a different dog now, he still misses that Palm a lot. I love how because of Valentine, I get to have so many chats with people I otherwise would probably never get to talk to. Riverbend Park was our favorite. We came here several times during our stay. There's a very nice path all around, big areas of grass, and you get such a nice view of the river and can enter it here. I like that you can keep walking past this bridge and there's a bit of a different view that's more rocky. Then on the other side of this bridge, there's additional grassy areas, and there's also a wooden pathway that goes out onto the river. That's where I took the picture of Valentine on the bench. This park was just so peaceful and a great place to hang out. The main reason I know about Bend is because one of my favorite artists, Katie Daisy, used to live here and she would post about it. So the one thing I knew I for sure wanted to do while I was here was find this Welcome to Bend mural she did with another artist, Karen Eland. I found out it was in the Old Mill District, but I wasn't sure exactly where it was. So I just walked down this path from the parking lot with Valentine, and then I turned a corner and there it was. It's way bigger in real life than I thought it would be, and I love all the colors and details. And while I was taking a picture of Valentine in front of it, two girls stopped and offered to take a picture for us, which I thought was so sweet. It was a super cute place to walk around and shop, but there wasn't any vegan food that really stuck out to me, so I decided to head over to Broken Angel Food Truck and try their Southern and Mexican-inspired vegan food. I got the Mount Bachelor hash because I can't say no to potatoes. It came with a griddle potato hash with wild mushroom gravy, braised greens, roasted chilies, smoked turtle beans, and avocado and grilled corn tortillas. I took it to Sunriver Park and I ate while Valentine dozed. There was a lot of food, but it was so good I ate the entire thing. This was early October and we got some amazing sunny warm weather while we were there. Another place we checked out was Robert Sawyer Park. And again, it's called a park, but doesn't this look more like a forest? This was a great place to see the river, and I saw people wading in it and dogs were playing in it too. I think it's better to get here earlier than later because the parking lot was pretty packed when we arrived, and it's not as dense with the trees, so it did get pretty hot pretty fast. So we didn't stay here too long, but it was still a nice outing and we got to soak up some sun. For lunch, I decided to try a place called Toasty, and it was located in the Potski food truck lot. When I walked up to the truck, one of the employees came out to pet Valentine, so I had a feeling I was gonna like this place. I decided to go for their most popular item, a vegan nacho Crunchwrap. It had Beyond Beef, beans, cheddar, cashew queso, avocado, onion tomato lettuce, and lime crema. When they handed me the box, I was like, whoa, this is a solid amount of food. We took the Crunchwrap to Miller's Landing Park, which was less than 5 minutes away. It was another beautiful day, and while we were there, we met a group picnicking who wanted to meet Valentine, and so we stopped to say hi and they were so sweet to her. When I was looking for places to go, Benham Falls Overlook popped up. It sounded like an easy hike with a great view of a waterfall. Once we got closer to the spot, there actually isn't any more paved road, which looks fine, but it feels so bumpy and loud, like my car was gonna fall apart or something. It's so wild to me because the road doesn't look rocky at all. So after that bumpy ride and covering my car with a ton of dust, I finally got to the spot. And then I realized I needed a parking pass. I don't know how I missed that, but I didn't want to risk going and getting a ticket, and I didn't see that there was anywhere that I could buy one. It was such a bummer we didn't get to go, and I could hear the waterfall from the parking lot. But I snapped a few pictures and decided to take Valentine to Sunriver Park instead. So we were just sitting there when all of a sudden from behind me I hear, "Valentine?" I was like, who the heck do you know here, Valentine? It was actually this really nice lady and her family who we met the first time we came here. I love that we bumped into each other again and that she remembered Valentine's name. So if I hadn't messed up, we probably wouldn't have bumped into her. So it kind of made everything a little bit better, and it was a nice way to wrap up the day. We were now nearing the end of our stay here, and even though it was super cold, I really wanted to try this gelato place because they had vegan flavors. So we went back to downtown Bend. I also stopped by the super cute gift shop called Paper Jazz to get some cards, and we walked around one last time. I love that there are these plaques of different types of pine trees all around. And then we made it to Bonta Gelato. I tried a scoop of the vegan chocolate coconut flavor, which was super yum, and I also picked up this cute little jar of JEMS Organics almond butter. They had a vegan salted caramel flavor that I was super excited to try, and it was so good. If you like nut butters but haven't tried this before, I highly recommend, and you can order them online. During my last few days, I worked in my sketchbook to try to capture bits and pieces of my time here. I had been collecting leaves and little flowers while I was here, and tried to use them in different ways to create a page. I also made a little thank you card for Rascal's mom with a flower from her backyard. And all of a sudden, it was our last day. I spent some time in the yard soaking in the view, and I took Valentine for one last evening walk at Sunriver. We actually got to see the sunset, and it was a beautiful way to end our stay here. Now it was time to continue on our adventure. We left the next morning and began our drive to Washington. On the next episode, I'll tell you about the super rainy drive to Washington, my new driving buddy, and I'm not talking about Valentine, and share with you some of the gorgeous places I went as I settled into my new home for the next few months. Thank you for joining me and Valentine on this journey. We hope to see you in our next video.